Hey everyone, welcome to my review for Batman Everybody Lies. I was really lucky because Portal Games actually reached out to me and sent me a review copy in the mail, and I got it. So instead of playing Arkham Horror this week, we pivoted to try this out. So I'm just going to do a quick summary of what we thought collectively and kind of do a review. I am doing a proper written review on the website, but this will kind of tide me over because the website's down at the minute. So yeah, speaking of a website, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're interested, because I'm doing an update on how all of that works. So that's going to be the best way to find out what's going on. But okay, Batman Everybody Lies. The basics of the game is that it is part of Portal Games' detective investigation system series. It uses the web-based interactive. It's not an app; it's like the website you go to, and it adds that layer of depth where I get to do all of the like the microfiche simulated newspaper articles and that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I was instantly a fan of all of that because I love those kind of interactive aspects of these kind of games. And it worked. Everything worked really well through a prologue. We did hit a roadblock in case one, but I'll come to that later. The game supports 2 to 4 players. We played it with 3 players. I was playing as Vicky Vale. Bill was playing as Harvey Bullock, and Nick played as Catwoman. That left Warren Stacy as the unused investigator. Each character has an ability, and it kind of just allows them to, like Vicky resets any locations that you've visited. The other ones give you access to different locations that are separated out through, like, you need authority to go to the police station or anything like that. You need underworld access to go to the underground, and you need authority, like Batman to go to Batcave. So like Catwoman gives you the ability to go to Batcave, that kind of stuff. Luckily, as I said, we had Warren Stacy not being used. He gives you access to the underground, but you flip the token over, and that has the same ability, but it removes access to the personal goal, and they just operate as like an NPC. So it's called the informant side in the game. So you still get the ability to generate those tokens. You don't lose any functionality depending on which people you choose to play as. Really, the access to locations is the key to how the game flows and progresses, because you have to go somewhere to follow up on a lead, and that's what activates moving the timer along one space. And it works really well. I've played a couple of games in this kind of genre, and I think this is my favorite way of actually doing it, because you can immediately see as you're getting towards the points where you should have answers and things like that. Each lead that you follow reveals another like snippet of information. You draw a card effectively, and then it gives you access to the information written on the card, and then it'll have more leads to follow up on. And sometimes it'll give you, in the Batman game specifically, it gives you scene cards where it's like a comic strip of what's going on, and it's really cool. I really, really enjoyed that mechanic. And then you take notes on anything that you think is pertinent. You examine the images from the scene card, stuff like that. And then you do all of that with a couple of leaps of logic, and you kind of piece together what happened to try and answer the question for your case file. And then you talk about it as a group, and when you're ready, you have the option to basically go to a website and do your final report. And basically, you're working for Jim Gordon. The prologue, I don't want to give any spoilers, but this is like on the back of the box, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler. The prologue brings you all together, and you are working for Jim Gordon as a special task force. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. The experiences while playing it, we found it just enjoyable to play. The story, not really focusing on Batman and letting us tell the story and explore it in our own ways. And it didn't feel like we were side characters at all, which was one of the fears looking at a Batman game and realizing I'm playing Vicky Vale. You know, what was it? We were chatting. It's like, oh, well, when we played the Conan game, for example, whoever wasn't Conan just doesn't feel like they're having as much fun as a Conan player. This didn't have that problem because no one gets to be Batman. The story flowed really well. There was a logical progression to it, and I never felt like whichever path we took that it didn't move forwards. We hit a couple of dead ends. Sometimes like you only get given a clue token rather than any like follow-on leads and stuff like that, and you've come to the end of a branch. But even that felt like there was useful information, like snippets that you'd take to answer questions later on, and it kind of just all worked pretty well. But one issue we did run into was with the website. We got told to check 3 or 4 case files, and one of them wouldn't load. I did try going back in and doing it in Edge instead of Chrome. I just couldn't get it to load. It was like 108C or something like that. It was a bit weird. Luckily, it was just a newspaper clipping that wasn't overly relevant. We didn't need it to progress the story. We don't know. Obviously, it could have just been the answer, but we didn't feel like it affected our ability to play the game. But I could see that being frustrating to some people. Like we kind of just rolled with it and didn't let it bother us. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. For Act 1, for me, I was playing as Vicky. It felt like my personal agenda story flowed really well. Bill didn't seem to feel the same as he was playing Bullock. He said a couple of times where he wasn't really sure what to do to try and advance his personal agenda. So that's like a mileage may vary kind of thing. Maybe we just got lucky that the places we hit, for me, kind of just advanced it naturally, whereas he felt like it was kind of forcing the issue. But as a group, like the main story moved along, and our personal ones did as well. We didn't really focus too much on it. Yeah, didn't feel like too much of a puzzle. It wasn't one of those where it only makes sense after it's explained to you. We kind of piecing it together, and as you get more information, it all falls naturally into place. So I didn't feel like it would be too difficult or challenging. If you're going through, I definitely think you could make bad choices and where to go, but generally everything just feels like it's a good, fun, social experience of playing. That kind of moves me on to the ratings part of it. I don't want to be like overly focused on numbers. I think if you're a fan of like puzzle or mystery games, or if you're a fan of Batman, it's a solid game. I would recommend it. If you're a fan of both of them, I feel like you've already bought it. It's been out for a couple of days now. You probably already have it. If for whatever reason you don't, it's a 5 out of 5 for you. If you like Batman and mystery games, just go and buy it. You will love it. For everyone else, though, it's interesting. I'd say that if you've not tried this type of game before, it isn't a bad choice to kind of dip your toe into that genre. I prefer this to Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, which is another kind of popular genre, popular series within this genre. But I find that one a little bit more open-ended, so you end up naturally just wasting more time. Whereas for this one, because of its branching nature and the fact you've got that timer mechanic on the board, it works really well. And it's a good, like I say, a really good intro into this kind of genre. I recommend it for that reason. The big thing about this type of game, though, is value proposition and replayability of it. I'm not the kind of person who needs to feel like they've got 100% gamer score on a game. If you're playing on the Xbox, get all the achievements, that kind of thing. I just happily go through and enjoy the story. So for me personally, the replayability is probably a little bit lower than average, I would say. But that's not to say it isn't there, because even with that, I'm not gonna like just get rid of it once I'm finished. I'm gonna keep it because I would like to play it with a different group as a different character, because we kept all of our personal goals secret. So I'm interested in, especially like Warren and Stacey, a character we weren't playing. I want to know what their story arc is. So I think that there is some replayability in it, but even if you're the type of person who never wants to play it again after you're finished, I've got it on the shelf behind me. I always have like one of the escape room kind of games, and that's definitely a play it once and you're done. But I kind of find a value in that, and this is a good 10 hours worth of play time to play through the prologue and the 3 chapters. I think you're easily getting like 8 to 10 hours worth of gameplay out of it. And for that $50, I think 67, 65 ish Canadian, it's probably like 40 pounds, something like that. I'm guessing I should probably look that up. But yeah, for that kind of price point, for that amount of play time, I feel like there's still value there. So it's a thumbs up from me. I really enjoyed it. Thanks again to Portal for sending me a copy to do a review. Let me know what you all think, if you've tried Everybody Lies, and what your opinions are on this kind of game where you only get that one playthrough, and where your line is for value proposition, and like, if it's good value or not. Have a good one, folks, and I'll see you all on the next one.